Thank you all for joining us for your time and energy today, where we have wonderful candidates representing Preston. And so from each of the parties, the whole richness is that like they look like us. They're from where we're from. And so especially, when we're young and young being anywhere under 30, anywhere of any age, just like we talked about with social media, in this digital age, you don't have to be a certain age to have an impact. You don't have to be a certain age to have power or to have a voice. And so with this conversation, we want to highlight the richness that we already have in our communities and the opportunity that we have to start to take this political stage, build our employment, build our empowerment, and to start to work together as well, because we are a community. Regardless of what parties we're representing, at the end of the day, we're trying to make our community better. We're trying to make ourselves better. And so just want to highlight that each of our candidates so far. So we have Archy Beals, want to just maybe give us a little wave to the stream. We have Angela Simmonds and Colter Simmonds also with us. And each of them throughout their careers, and they'll speak a little bit more of themselves, but have done lots in our community, have committed to youth, have committed to advocating, have committed to challenging what the status quo is, right? Ruffling some feathers. Why? Because youth matter and our community matters. And so each of them in their own ways, through education, through justice, through sports, through community services, and more, have continued to put our community first. And so this is an opportunity for us to really dive into that discussion, to talk more about why youth matter, why people of African descent matter, but really why our community and has the ability to move forward quickly, but also together. So what I would like to do from an equity piece as well, I would like to pass it over. And Angela, if you could maybe go first, just to get a self-introduction.
Did great energy. First of all, thank you so much, Andreas. It's a great opportunity to be here. I thought about how I would do this introduction, and simply because of the audience that we're in front of, I may be a little bit more personal. So my name is Angela Simmonds, and I'm from Cherry Brook. My family's from East Preston. I live in North Preston. And so for me, I think I talk up a little bit about my story is the fact that, I was once a youth who faced barriers as well. Having my son at 18 was a challenging barrier for me. Graduating high school he was 5 months old was a huge impact for me. And one of the things that I think that many of you will guide you is your family and where you come from in your community. So that's what guided me. And for me to make sure I did not fall prey to the stereotypes of a Black girl pregnant with one child out of high school. So what I did with that is I became motivated. I wanted my children to lead me. And so with that, I've always been grounded in community. And so the one thing that I would say is what's important for you folks here, and what I want you to realize is that our success looks very differently. We all keep children at the forefront. And so in order for people to thrive and thrive in a way that they need to be successful, we need to have Black economic empowerment. And that is, I think, what you're doing with the platform you're creating. And so that's what I want people to understand is to have good education. What that education looks like is very different for everybody. But we need to have great jobs and great opportunities and pathways for home ownership. But I want to be a leader that sits at the table to make sure we can raise the issues that you're bringing forward collectively at the legislature to make changes in the legislation and the law. So thank you. That's me, Angela Simmonds, for Preston.
I'm Archy Beals, and I'm from the community of North Preston. And I've been working in the community for the past 40 plus years, since I was 15 years old. I currently work at the Nova Scotia Community College as a student services advisor and African Canadian support, a position I've held for the past 26 years. When I was in junior high school, I was told by an administrator to quit school when I was, selecting courses for high school. He said to me, I don't think you're university material. So, what you should do is, quit school after grade 10, go to the vocational school at the time and take a trade. And, I knew that wasn't the route that I wanted to take. So I persevered, did the high school credits, graduated when I was 20 years old. It took me a little bit longer to get through high school, but, also while at NSCC, I did a master's in education, working full-time, doing a full-time program with a young family at the time. So, that's a little bit about me, and I'm proud to be from the Preston Township. I've served the community in many capacities. locally, provincially, and on national committees. I consider myself a spiritualist. I'm a community-minded individual who will represent you well, as I have throughout my life and throughout my career at NSCC, advocating, and I've worked with thousands of students throughout my year at NSCC and will continue to do that, representing the views of the young people in the Nova Scotia legislature. Thank you, and it's over to you, Colter.
Thanks, Andreas, for having me. I'm Colter Simmonds. I'm from North Preston. Mother's from North Preston, father's from East Preston. Mother presently lives in Sherbrooke, Lake Loon. I lived in the Kennedy and Caledonia area as a kid, came back and worked in the area as a youth employment counselor and then as an employment counselor. So the issues and topics we're talking about, I have some experience in it. I'm that guy that most of the young people can come to and talk to about just about anything, and always there to support you. I'm doing this political thing because I think it needs a different voice there that comes from a different space. I come from humble beginnings. Like I said, I'm from North Preston, grew up in the inner city of Toronto, community called Jane and Finch, and to be here at this moment with the opportunity to become the MLA for the community of Preston and all the communities that make up the Prestons in this riding, I think I bring a real life experience and from top to bottom, where humble beginnings to being a business owner, and what I genuinely feel like our community is on the way to something better either way. Back to you, Andreas.